It may not look like it, but this is a trailblazer. Lots of brands have adopted hybrid propulsion recently, but Greenline has been building all-electric and hybrid boats since 2008, and this, the all-new 42, is the latest addition to the range. And if you're looking for an affordable, comfortable cruiser that you can use all year round, well, this is definitely worth a look. But here's the question: are there enough new ideas here to compete in 2026, or is it more of the same? Well, let's find out. I'm Jack Haines, you're watching YachtBuyer. In the initial renderings of this model, the styling on the exterior looks a little bit more bold than it does in the flesh. This does feel very safe Greenline style, a bit more modern, more in line with 58 Fly and other boats in the range, certainly a bit more modern than the 40. It's still quite safe when it comes to exterior design. However, there's a bit more going on the inside, as we'll see later on. But how about this space? Well, as an upgrade, you have the sunbathing package. That gives you cushions up here. You have the pram hood for protection, and there's a full canopy you can put up here as well, so you can have real shade across this entire area. There are a couple of cup holders up there and a space for your devices. The other thing they've added is this section here. So you have the little bench and the opposing benches too. So it just makes it a little bit more sociable. No table or anything like that, but just another area that you can come and sit down right at the front of the boat. Nice place to be if you're cruising along inland especially, which is obviously part of the appeal of this boat. And this being an owner-run machine, moving around this boat, safety when you're crewing is very important, and it does feel very secure on these side decks. Even here forward where we're raised up a little bit, you've got the rail, you can grab onto the hardtop here, but then as you move further aft, you can see how high and secure these bulwarks are, up to hip level for me, nice railing too, and some coverage overhead. The other thing that's nice is how you have this helm door, which is full height, so you can step out from the helm onto the side deck. The only thing that would make it a little bit better is to have a boarding gate here as well, so you can step out from the helm straight onto the pontoon. Moving aft, still really nice and protected, and you've got these sections on both sides as well. Again, there's a real feeling of security on the side decks here. Let's check out the cockpit because there are some big changes in there. Now, for the moment, this is going to run alongside the Greenline 40. It's one of the most popular models. They don't want to kick it out of the range yet. And actually, if you want to compare the differences between the two boats, do that on yachtbuyer.com. You can literally put them next to each other and see exactly what's different between the two models. And one of the key changes is this area here. So you can have the traditional Greenline aft deck where it's completely open and the transom drops down to create the platform. That is still an option on this boat, but I think this is the one that most people are going to go for, because this gives you a hydraulic bathing platform with a capacity of 150 to 200 kilograms, so you can carry a tender on here. But more importantly, it gives you this seating area. Other models in the range, when you have the open cockpit, you're messing around with freestanding furniture. On this boat, you always have somewhere to sit, and it's nice that they've arranged it this way, rather than maybe having a transom bench and a table the other way around and someone having to sit looking into the boat. Everybody has a nice view, and this is a good, comfortable place to sit. Table's nice and high for dining. The seats are comfortable as well. I think they've arranged this really nicely. I think this is going to be very popular. This is very typical Greenline, with the window that comes up to help make the galley a bit of a bar area, so it really nicely blends between the two areas. And there's some very practical stuff back here too. You've got your deck shower down there, so you can have a little wash off. Obviously you've got your mooring gear with your fair leads on the top there, but in the deck, the engines are further forward of course, you have two enormous lazarettes. Now this is the type of boat that people will be living on for extended periods of time. So being able to store all of your equipment down there, you have to put some crates and things down there to make it really useful, but just having all of that space is really, really useful if you're going to be cruising for longer periods. Right, let's check out that new interior. I should also point out you can fully enclose that cockpit with canopy covers, so in bad weather that obviously extends your living space further than the saloon. But the saloon is a really good size, and they've split the galley, so you've got your cooking and sink over on this side. There's some storage here as well. Opposite you have cooling. Now you can have a full height fridge freezer, but that would sacrifice this option, which is the drop down window. You have those on both sides. If you have the optional fridge, you still have the window over there. But if you have the drawer fridges, you have windows on both sides, which is going to create a nice cross breeze, which if you're trying to conserve power, means you don't have to use the air conditioning. We'll come on to that in a moment. If you don't have the full height fridge freezer, you get these nice fridge drawers, which are pretty useful to be honest. Storage under here, this is all just big storage voids. Cupboard here, big one underneath the TV. The TV drops down into the counter. There is the option to have a sofa here, so if you don't want all this storage and you want more seating space, you can have a sofa here and the TV will rise from behind that instead. This is obviously your main seating area inside the dinette. They've got this nice table here that just looks a little bit different to the timber that you have on the paneling down this side. That's a really nice feature, and that will drop down to create 2 extra berths. So you've got 2 cabins down there, 2 more berths here, so you can potentially sleep 6 people on board. And just look at the headroom in here. Really, really good. It actually goes up even further when you move forward towards the helm, and a big glass area too. And if you don't have the windows, because they are a cost option, quite a lot is a cost option. The base price is €545,000, and then you can upgrade through the various hybrid packages, which I'll talk about in a moment. But you have got windows forward of the helm, so there is some natural ventilation, and there's options above as well. Let's look at the helm. You get the solar panels whichever version you go for. There are some differences above, as I just said. So you've got these hatches on this one. You can have a sliding sunroof, but then you're going to sacrifice the number of solar panels you have. This particular boat is the diesel version. You do get the solar panels, but you don't get any of the hybrid kit, obviously. So this has got a pair of Yanmar 250 horsepower diesel engines for a top speed of about 25 knots. Twin engines, bow and stern thruster as an option, should make it nice and manoeuvrable. You can then upgrade to the hybrid version, which is €100,000, so it's a big upgrade, but that obviously brings in the electric motors. Then you get silent running of about 6 knots for 20 nautical miles, but you also get the autonomy with that. So a really big battery bank, 30 to 40 kilowatt hours, which means you can potentially be on anchor for 2 days, running the air conditioning, things like that, without having to fire up the engines or a generator. And they've put in a middle ground as well. There's a power pack upgrade. So it's like the diesel version, but with slightly bigger batteries. Doesn't give you quite as much autonomy, but it gives you some of the benefits of the hybrid version, which are having to pay for the full hybrid package. Hope you got that clear. The helm itself, well, it's fixed and it's very high. Actually, it's quite tall, so the view is a little bit restricted. It's easy enough to stand, at least, so you can stand and lean. But when you sit down, even someone of my height, that is quite an imposing dashboard. It's a little bit plain, a little bit dull. They are fitting only the widescreen Simrad MFDs, which are quite nice. And look, everything's here. It all falls to hand easily. And the most important thing, really, from a helmsman's point of view, I think, is how easy it is for you to be able to get in and out, as I said, on deck. The nice thing is that the controls fall to hand. You've got the throttles and the thrusters, so you can be looking forward, looking aft, and you've got full control, even though you're standing on the side deck here. It's a shame it's only a single bench, but you obviously got the dinette down there so that people can sit next to you when the boat's moving along. Right, let's check out the cabins. On the lower deck are where we see some other major changes over the 40, and it was actually feedback from 40 owners that have informed their layout down here, because you can now have a second bathroom. They said that they like to have the privacy of 2 bathrooms if they have guests on board, so you now got one here and one here. This one acts as the day head, but it's also got private access to the owner's cabin, as we'll see in a moment. But let's start with the guests. They're down here. This is quite familiar, really. You've got plenty of headroom in this lobby area, and they've got this section, so you've got some natural light coming in, but of course you want privacy. Slide it closed, and there you go. There's a blind over there as well. The berths themselves, they're okay. They're set quite low. Obviously there's some intrusions overhead, particularly on this one. Not so bad over on this side, but you have got a bedside table, a socket for charging, and some reading lights too, and there's storage voids on either side. And in fact, storage is really pretty good, because you've got this lost spring wardrobe too. There's a couple of little cubbies and fiddles up here as well, so you can put stuff up here. It's not going to slide off, and a bit of natural light. And you have got that separate bathroom, which is through a door there. It's not huge, but it does give you greater privacy. And then moving right forward, there's the owner's cabin. Another option you could have is to have a vanity unit, so you lose the bathroom, so only a single bathroom. Obviously that's the access point from inside this cabin, but you've got a vanity unit here, or you can create more of a walk-in wardrobe. So there's a little bit of flexibility depending on how you're going to use the boat. Storage is pretty good in here anyway though. You've got a wardrobe on that side and on this side. Storage dotted all the way around the perimeter too. And this is a nice Greenline feature, having the glass running around here. And you'll see from the outside those cutouts in the bulwarks. Well, that means that from inside the cabin, you've got a view out, so it doesn't feel too enclosed, and you've got a skylight, so no issues with natural light down here. The bed is a decent size. You can climb up either side relatively comfortably, and they've got these wells here, so you can drop your devices in and they're not going to slide around, and there's sockets for charging. And again, you've got your reading lights at the top. It's a nice cabin, and you'll probably spot this is where you have your TV if you opt to have it. Okay, that's the accommodation. Let's look at the engine room. Engine room access is here in the saloon. This nice big hatch. And then you can drop down into the space. Now, could probably do with a ladder just to help access a bit, but it's not too bad. Very easy to inspect the starboard engine. You can see these Yanmar 250s. They're really quite compact. They're nice engines. This one, there's restrictions over the top, but no doubt this panel actually it does come out. I can see some hinges. So yes, you can hinge this up if you take the table out, if you really need to investigate this engine. But day-to-day stuff is perfectly easy. Easy to get to the filters, easy to get to the dipsticks, that sort of thing. And okay, when you're actually down in here, headroom isn't going to be great, but the nice thing is you've got these hatches. So if you really need to get your hands dirty, it's relatively comfortable. Fuel tanks on either side, very good access to the shafts as well. You know, bearing in mind this is obviously going to be looked after, maintained by the owner. They've made this stuff all pretty easy, to be honest, but do keep in mind this is the diesel version. So you haven't got the big battery bank and you haven't got the electric motors. That will make things a little bit more cramped, but still should be pretty good. This is not a radical departure from the Greenline norm. Yes, you've got the Marco Casali interior, but if you think about, certainly when it comes to exterior spaces, what some of its rivals are doing in terms of the usability out here, it does still feel a little bit behind the times. However, it still has that Greenline ethos, and adding things like this will make a big difference day to day to how people use this boat. Greenline knows their customer. They're not trying to edge into the adventure boat market. They want safe, comfortable year-round cruisers, and don't forget they've still got an eye on A, sustainability, and B, value, which is important. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching that tour of the new Greenline 42. I hope you enjoyed it. We've actually tested the Greenline 45 Fly with the hybrid system, so I'll put that up there if you'd like to watch that. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do that by clicking up here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.